where we share a pot of tea after class and explore how ancient Daoist wisdoms can help us live with greater calm, energy, and spirit in the modern world today.
Okay, so we've just finished a class and we're settling in with a pot of tea. We like to do these straight after class so the exercises are still running through our systems. So I'm just going to dive straight in.
Yeah, absolutely. But first things first, come on, let's get the tea.
Let's get the tea on. I'm so eager to ask these questions, Laoma.
So it was a sweaty class.
It was.
Yeah, but very good. And the tea is always good to.
I've been thinking about something that comes up a lot in the classes, like today, which is the difference between exercise and cultivation.
Aha.
So I'd love to hear.
So it's a very good question, and something that Laoma would often talk about in terms of what we do as a practice. The cultivation, I think he even touched on it today actually in the class, but exercise and cultivation, for me, the difference is essentially about getting fit and getting healthy. So, you might be really fit and athletic in your body, but not necessarily kind of healthy in terms of the more holistic way of viewing health, in terms of mental health, in terms of emotional health, as well as your body as well. And then people often think if you're being kind of more spiritual, let's say, they don't really relate that to being fit, you see, and healthy. It's like people go into their being all spiritual, but they're not necessarily, fit in that athletic, strong in their bodies, So in terms of Tao practice, it's getting that balance. We're always talking about balance. And so when you're exercising, you have to have a strong conditioned body, but not to the extent where your muscles are super big and super tight and, that your energy can't flow. Not that your attitude is so competitive that you just want to win and only that will do. Do you see what I mean? That creates that tension, that hardness within yourself. And Laoma touched on it today, when you're training, you've got to love that feeling of being in your body, but it's also got to be nourishing for you as well, and you've got to enjoy it. So often he uses the example of athletes and artistes, and there are many artists that live to a ripe old age into their 80s, 90s, even like, rockers like Rolling Stones, Bob Dylan, he's still going, amazing. Yeah. And they're doing something that they love, and that nourishes their spirit, it nourishes their soul, and athletes, there's often more problems with athletes, in terms of pushing your body to extremities, and then later on, footballers, they live in so much pain, gymnasts, some footballers, they have to have like injections to go before they go on the pitch, and the longevity of their career, they've only got a short window where they can actually be, at the peak of their career. And often what Laoma, our teacher, says is that you don't want to peak because it's like a shooting star. You peak and then there's only one way down, and you just want to keep going like an artiste. Like, Bob Dylan, you just reinvent yourself and you evolve and you keep rediscovering, and that there's a longevity to that. One time when I was in China, I remember a Daoist talking to us about various things, but he said something about your heart, and he just said, your heart's only got so many beats. So if you're go athlete, and it's like it beats really fast. And so something like a little field mouse, it doesn't live as long, while something like an elephant, or a turtle, it's much slower, and the boom, boom, because it's only got so many beats, but it's slow and it's steady. it doesn't peak, and it has longevity to it. So in terms of the difference between, cultivating, which is what we aim to do, that it's much more holistic. It doesn't mean it's not a physical art, because the physicality of it is very much part of it, but that's not just it. And the internal aspect of it is much greater, but to do it in a way that's nourishing for you, and there's a whole change of attitude to how you train, how you practice, how you are with yourself. And in actual fact, Taoists don't use the word training. Training is something that's not kind of Western. It implies pushing yourself, going to the limit, and actually when they talk about training, the verb they actually use is to repair. And that's very Taoist. In Wushu, it's train, lian gong, but it's xiu lian in Taoism, which means to repair your body, because that's what you're doing. You're repairing. Yeah.
Wow.
It's cool. Yes. I mean, there's so many layers,
Mm-hmm.
and people might come into it initially to get fit in a different way. They don't like the gym. They don't want sports, normal, conventional sports. So they're looking for something a bit deeper. But it's very much not about just being fit and muscular and in your body. There's a whole journey, internally that we're all just discovering, and that's the exciting thing. That's the thing. Yeah.
Thank you. Wow. So with that then, why are the Yang arts important for well-being? Because like you said there, you get really spiritual and you think, I just need to sit and meditate in a cave and not do any exercise. But why do we do the Yang arts?
Well, as we say, we're about balance. So we do Yin and Yang arts, and like you've just highlighted. I get this so much. People want that, they feel like stressed, they feel overloaded, overwhelmed. They just want to relax, and they feel that they just need to kind of sit and meditate and relax, and essentially, as Abba said, you're dying. You've got to get, first of all, to meditate properly, you need enough energy. It's not so hard. It's not easy, if to just sit and switch your brain off. Your brain, so that's a skill in itself. But the Yang arts really is, you do the Yin arts. Most people come in and they want to do the Yin arts. And Yin arts, for people at home, if they're not familiar with it, is Tai Chi, is the Qigong exercises, it's the Kaimen, the open door yoga exercises. And they are super important to getting you in touch with your body, strengthening your body, and getting in a more receptive way to feeling your body and your energy. And ultimately that leads to cultivation, building up your energy. So that often beginners will come to the class and I'll ask them how they feel at the end of the class. And some of them will say they feel calm and relaxed, and also a lot of them will say they feel energized. Yeah. So once you've started to cultivate and build up a store of energy and not be totally exhausted or mentally overloaded and exhausted, then the Yang arts allows you to utilize that energy that you've built up. It's for you to use in a way that really, mainly with a partner or with a few people, so that you can apply that energy work in situations. And often the Yang arts is faster. You've got to be, it heightens your awareness, and you think actually that would make you more stressed. But if you're able to incorporate what we learn, because they're not separate, you see, they're very much part of the same art, just the other side. And if you can incorporate that, the stillness, the softness, in a kind of pressured environment that's quicker, that requires more coordination, or with another person, it's problem solving on the hoof, and it's for you to be able to deal with all these kind of pressures, let's say, But actually, at the end of it, it's very nourishing. It lifts your spirit, you feel energized, and you actually feel more relaxed in a much deeper way. Because in some ways, if you kind of stimulated more externally, internally, you're kind of more relaxed and sedated. I know it sounds a bit crazy, but it's this kind of like yin and yang, like opposites, like as we've discussed. So, you know, the top affects the bottom, the left affects the right. This is all sort of Daoist Chinese TCM theory, but we apply it in what we do in the classes. So hopefully, yeah. I mean, I love the Yang arts. When I first started, I was a bit afraid of them. I didn't want to do them. I don't want to hurt anybody, and I didn't want to fight. But it's totally not about that. And you know, it's very invigorating, and I love it now.
Yeah, it's fun. You were saying there about coming in with stress, maybe to a class, and thinking, you know, maybe you want yin or yang, but how does the training affect stress or home life or relationships, or how do you think the training can?
Well, I always say when you come in, you know, we have a practice where you come in and you bow into the room, and the bowing is very much part of the practice for many reasons. But one of the reasons we bow when we come into the room, obviously, is to pay respect to the space and all the previous practitioners and teachers who've kept it going, but also it's a signal to leave all your kind of stresses from your life, your work, your family, whatever, and you leave them at the door, and you're in the space, and you're practicing, and you're in the moment, and you're not sort of thinking about something else. I mean, it's very hard to be somewhere else when someone's, you know, when you've got to do something. You know, you've got to be in the moment. But that allows you, it actually nourishes you. You know, because you're there and you're in the present, and you're dealing with things in the present, and you're either working with your energy, you know, working with exercises, and so that on a level is you know, it allows you to then like fill your cup up, be energized, time for you, and then when you leave and you head back to your normal life, you've got more energy to handle all the stuff that was coming at you, and even to the point where you realise actually it doesn't matter. None of that matters.
That really resonates. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the perspective and the time away from it.
Yeah, definitely. That perspective gives you. Well, yeah, exactly that. The time when you're in it, it's hard to see the wood for the trees, but when you have time out of it, and you know, and often, I mean, it's uncanny, but often when I was coming up through the classes, I would have something that was, you know, bothering me or whatever, and I'd come to class and Laoma would do a meditation, you know, seemingly about the thing that I was stressing about, and actually it would put it all in context, and it would give me a different lens on it, and actually sort out a lot of stuff. So in using the principles in the class, that, you know, the principles, whatever we were dealing with, that there'll be a principle that's in Taoism that we apply in the classes with the techniques, with the movements, and then there's an application that you can you know, use in your life as well, and that gives you another tool, another perspective, you know, and yeah, that's invaluable. I've always loved that. I've always been like, this is kind of freaky, you know. Yeah. You have that.
I get that in your classes all the time. It's amazing. Yeah, it's like, and even it's like, oh, I don't think I've got time to go to class. This isn't that. I get there, and then you just say the thing, and it just hits, and it just makes things make sense. Yeah, it's amazing. It is.
You know, it's not. It's the thing is. Again, I was talking to Laoma about this the other day, and it's just tuning into the energy. Now we're going to get a bit more, but it's like if you're sensitive to energy, you kind of tune into the resonance of stuff, and then things just I don't, you know, I'm not planning it out like I'm going to say this, and you know, I don't know, but it's just something, and then it just you know, it comes out, and that happens so many times. It's uncanny with Laoma, you know, and and something that I'm working on. I've got a train of thought on, and then he hits it, and I'm just like, oh my God, how does he know? But it's just the energy, you know. He keys into it, and then he's on it, and it's remarkable, really.
It's such a gift.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
But it's something that everyone can do, because he always says the energy is there. It's always been there. And it's just whether you're receptive to it. And it sounds totally like woo-woo, but actually I've seen it happen so many times. You know, it's just it's a different science. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it is. It's like, thank you. Cool. So.
I'll buy you some more tea.
Thank you so much. With the difference, so we talked a bit about the Yang. I actually don't know. This we do the standing.
Yes.
Where we stand in different postures. Would that come under Yin or Yang arts?
So the standing is or standing qigong is it would come under the Yin arts, because with the standing qigong, even though it can at the start be quite demanding physically, you know, then it's actually a really good way of making more energy, cultivating more energy. And if that's something that can be developed, then that's quite amazing. As in, you've got a tool, because it's not, as we always say, it's invisible. You know, you can't see it. So these aren't any use, and you can't really hear it. You can't hear it. So these aren't used. You can't taste it. This is no good. Oh my God! What do we do? And you've got to get good at feeling it in your body first of all, and feeling where it's a process, because obviously we're standing, but there's tons going on internally that awaken your energies, awaken your awareness to your energy, and then how to connect with your energy in your body. Essentially, there's many layers to this. So, but that's the basic one. And on a really basic level, it gives people time to switch their brain off if you can do it. I mean, in the modern world, it's just active all the time. Often I see people like taking the dog for a walk, but they've got like podcasts in. So the brain is constantly being stimulated. And so with an exercise like the standing qigong, it just gives your brain a break, and often even though we're like in a world where there's super comforts, everything is really easy compared to our ancestors. We're not having to like hunt for food, and we've got cars and all sorts. But everyone feels very stressed and overloaded, and I think that your brain doesn't get a chance just to have a bit of time to itself and relax. But standing qigong gets you there. Yeah, if you can switch it off, there's no escape.
There's no like, Alexa, play this. It's just...
You've just got you and no distraction. And then controlling you. Yeah. And then, there's so many things. It's like a multi-layered cake. You've got the physical, you've got your brain to contend with, you've got your emotions, So one of my students said to me recently, they like to count, because, I might say, how long should you do? And they'll count it out. I'm like, torturous, don't do that. I've been through that myself many years ago. But it is torturous.
The alarm's broken.
Yeah, exactly, yes. I even have self-doubt sometimes. Did I put the alarm on? Okay. Yeah, but it's such a good exercise. I can't recommend it enough. And you can just do it, in your bedroom.
Yeah.
Best time when the sun's coming up or sun's going down. Okay. That's a really good time to practice your standing. Yeah.
Amazing. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I feel like we've covered so much.
We have. You've got some good questions there, and I think if there's any other questions that if you're listening and you want to find out, you can send us a little message.
Write in the comments.
Write in the comments.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
These tea sessions are great, because it's like you say, the exercises are still working through you, and in some ways this is much very much part of the class, that it's sort of digestion time and kind of processing time, and then you can reflect on what we've done and you know, and it goes in more than just sort of something that's fleeting and passing, and you get to really get your teeth into it and unpick and take, you know, go dive deeper into kind of so many of it. It's so rich, basically. So many things. So yeah, they're very much part of the classes, and also Daoist culture. When we go and meet the Daoists in China, I think we're going very soon. Actually, there'll be a trip soon this year. Then the Daoists always invite us for tea, and it's very much part of that kind of sitting and being together, and then, you know, asking a question or not even, just sitting.
Enjoying the tea and just being...
Enjoying the view.
We've got a gorgeous view of the sea cloud, haven't we?
Yeah, and that view is nourishing, you know.
Absolutely.
We've got the greens.
It's so green.
And the river. I'm not sure you can see the river there, seeing it. Yeah, so that's gorgeous.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Laoma.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Cool.
And that was Tea and Dao, conversations from Sea Cloud Hall. Until next time, and don't forget, follow the energy.